I think I'll open up this conversation with this question. With the entries in Boomerang this year, what are your key observations? What are your thoughts about all these digital campaigns that you are seeing in the market?
Yeah, I'm actually sort of confused when we say phygital because I think the lines are blurred right now between tech and the real world. And it's not just about digital. It's also applying technology into what brands do. I think the jargon is new, but the merging of physical and digital experiences has been happening since James and I met each other in 2013. Now, when he was still in Zimbabwe, and I was in another Asian. So, I think everything is driven by what consumers are experiencing. So before the pandemic, you remember that there was this so-called experience economy where the millennials were, doing Uber and Airbnb, and we were all talking about that, if you remember. So everybody, as James said, was moving to digital. And then the pandemic kind of closed all the experiences down. And we went into gaming. We went into the metaverse. We bought NFTs. And then now we are like, I don't want that. I'm going traveling. I'm going camping. I'm going out with my friend. And so naturally, technology becomes, it's become part of our life. And now we're, again, bringing it out with us.
Do you think the pandemic has catalyzed the phygital experience or the way brands marry physical and digital? And what do you think are the opportunities that brands or agencies should look after to fully maximize that experience for consumers?
I mean, I can take that on. I would think that I often say this now, nothing drives innovation more than desperation. And when brands cannot sell their product, they find ways, right? Our project with Nutrition, the Eco Station, was a response to people not being able to do caroling during the pandemic. And so the bus station was transformed into a karaoke station. Again, I guess consumer behavior is really what drives brands follow them. Like we cannot we cannot go to our retail shop. Then I'll make my shop in Lazada. During the pandemic, brands transformed digitally so fast. James and I have been working since 2013. In smart pa.
From a production standpoint, word production, I think being pandemic forward also, when we were first incubating LSC at first, we wanted it to be the same production house as what we have in the industry now. But when pandemic hit, then the demand for digital and content has really increased. So we started looking at how do we now bring something new that also will address the demand, but we look into the future. What will be the future after the pandemic? And that's really digitalization. That's addressing or demanding volume, marami, and then velocity, mabilis yung production of content. It's not anymore traditional that it will take you a month to produce a TNEC. Now it's really volume, variety, yung iba-iba, volume, velocity, and value to the brand. So that's how we really thought for changing the game in terms of the processes. Also, we don't want like very long timings in terms of productions. Make it our technology, diba? But technology is our best friend, production. Because I think when you look into technology and you see all the AI, AR, VR, gaming to what Joey's mentioning, we can now harness the power of technology in creating new experiences in our consumers. I also believe that when we were trapped at home, everyone was, just at home doing their work, growing out of the bed, laptop na agad, ika. Yes, when the pandemic eased out, people are now
wanted to go out.
They want to go out, experience something new, engage. That's why what I see now with the consumers, they will not just buy a product or consume a service. They want to send something, to feel something, to experience something new. And I think that's the beauty of digital experiences now, because we give our clients or our consumers in particular a new way to consume content, or a new way to experience something, like what Google has done with Netflix, what Nutrition has done with the karaoke, di ba? It's a different take. And what Bandayo really did with the street memorials, it's a new way to consume the traditional media that we have, and that makes our market, or the consumers, really want more, because it's new for them also, but at the same time, it's experience.
The pandemic kasi almost accelerated the adoption of the behavior on tech. And it's not just the adoption, it's the innovation. So just marrying what the brands are demanding. So during the pandemic, I'm helping out a startup called Cognitive. And the founder is like postdoc in physics, materials engineer, master's in materials engineer. He was so bored, he developed a code, an AI that could read paper and transform the information from paper to digital. By itself, it seems okay, but when brands demanded for it, kasi at that time, YF couldn't do raffle draws kasi sarado ang mga tindahan, right? So sabi nila, pwede bang gamitin natin yung technology na yan to read receipts so that we could do a raffle and then send that receipt over Messenger to us, and then we'll draw a raffle draw. And lo and behold, that's what happened. And Wyatt has been adopting. Nestle is now adopting. It's now a loyalty program. So it's the two things. It's the adoption of the behavior on using tech, the desperation for innovation, and then the demand of brands when they see it now becomes useful to them in driving business. I think babalik pa rin siya sa, it's not just a nice thing, but it's something that's helping them grow their business. I think that's the sort of like secret sauce in making this leapfrog again the Philippines into the next level.
You as a marketer, are you the one who drives for these kinds of campaigns? Do you ask your agency to develop that, or is it the agency who pitched this idea to you?
Well, in general, we're very, well, me personally, coming from a telco background, and I've been working in the digital industry for quite some time. We're pretty friendly to technology in this case, digital marketing technology, and it's both ways. You might have seen it as a case study, maybe somewhere, or maybe on Instagram, or maybe some other feed. But we also challenge our partners if they have innovations, especially if it's something that that's never been done. The brands about first to market, never been done, and the brand is ready to experiment there. And definitely that's something the brands are really eating. I think what's crucial out there is that as long as brands are willing to experiment and invest in the testing of brands, definitely I think there's a market for us to keep playing this field.
Yep.
The challenge actually for some brands who are already in this space is that how do you scale it up?
Yeah.
Like, for example, if you've been doing a lot of test and learners, well, you can only do as much, because there's budget involved. But you have to pick the right cases where you can make it bigger and make it mainstream.
So I think this might be an experience of Miguel, and it also depends on the risk tolerance of the client, right? The higher it is, then the more able you are to test out different things, because it doesn't come up, oh, this is the idea and it'll scale. It's not like that. It comes from a variety of ideas that you want to test and learn, and then choose what will happen is. So when I was with the agency, when I was with Wonderman, we did like a smart card for Stans and PNG. So there were cards that would have like iPads, and then we would have beacons with PNG product, and then when you rolled your card, as an Alta mom, enter the Stans, there's a PNG product here. Is that scalable? At that point, not yet. That was 10 years ago, right? But now everyone has a phone, like beacon are normal. I mean, like, and these are something that, imagine if you were a brand and then you were rolling and you don't have to find the aisle of where, my product will be. That's amazing. They'll cut off your time to path to purchase. So things like that, I think if we're given a chance to experiment and invest and then show that there's ROI, then that's where we can scale. So then it depends though on the brand. also the tolerance, right? So that time we were thankful that PNG invested and Rustans invested. But that was definitely not scalable 10 years ago, right? So, but now, maybe it is.
What typically is the genesis of this digital? Is it the idea or the technology?
It's always idea.
Okay.
And even before the idea, I know you would think about, is the brand leading it and the agency leading it? Is another case study you've probably seen somewhere inspiring it? For us, I think it's always the consumer leading it. It's the consumer's appetite for whatever technology is available. I remember the simple QR code, right? I remember we, at some point in our lives, we will, because it's so simple, it's a design idea. We can do so much with it. We would put it on our posters and convince our client, hey, this can be a simple QR code. It looks better than www.
The experience in retail right now with PHYGITAL is amazing in some countries, like Uniqlo. You just put everything in your basket and then it automatically reads, what you bought. Or even the displays. Oh my gosh, the window displays right now, because LCD displays right now are so flexible. I know I'm a K-pop fan, so I've just watched the Mama Award. How they were applying like independent LCD screens to just use as a backdrop. I mean, I'm sure the experience is different now for the audience, and the use of AR when you view or you take your camera out and you view and take a photo of your favorite group. I mean, the immersion is just different. So there's so much more out there. I don't think it's too far from in the Philippines. It just takes maybe a great idea, a spot-on insight, and a brave brand.
What should agencies do to encourage brands to try more digital ideas and make you spend more?
For me, it's all about relevance. Because brands will always have stories to tell. And sometimes you come across, so that's always a trick. There's the conscious effort to launch something that's high-tech, it's very digital. But then you're also struggling with the brand that you're working with because of the limitations of a certain brand's equity, when it stands for. So the partners, the agencies need to have an idea that really marries both, because it's hard to just all those Joey said that it's not, this is work that we know, but there have been presentations na it's all about the technology, but the brand has been forgotten. Kasi nawawala yung both story. And that's one way to really encourage advertisers and the brand people to invest in that.
How do you think agencies should convince brands that, hey, this is going to work if it's still an innovation, still new? There's no case studies around it yet.
Well, I think based on the examples earlier, they just need to show the brands that it's practical. I mean, if that's what's happening in the real world, then it shouldn't be that hard for brands to jump into it, because the brand people are also the same way, want to talk to the same consumers that the users are want to reach.
Have you found the right formula for Netflix in terms of advertising their shows?
Siguro, yung formula is malabo. Dahil nga, since we've been handling them and their titles for the past few years, every brief is a more stressful one. Kasi hindi mo pwedeng ulitin whatever you did before. So, luminit yung parang space. But it forces, I guess, that for innovation. So, in itself, whatever the brief is, there's already that call for innovation. We can't do something that we've done before, and it has to be something new. But the goal will always be, how do we bring attention of the public to this title? So, dun din papasok, I guess, yung relevance. Will technology help in bringing this execution to be more relevant to people?
And I guess that's how digital works. And in terms of the dynamics between the client and the agencies, the production, it's not the traditional where the agency thinks of the idea, presents it. No, with what James is mentioning, they're future facing, meaning they're open to it. They're open to really test and learn. And if we fail forward, but it's still progress. I think that's also how we can make digital successful.
Yeah.
It's really a collaborative effort where everyone has an open mind and then we go and experiment on it together. I think that's also the key on how we can really create digital experiences that are effective. If everyone in the team, from clients to the agencies to the production, are all on board and supporting each other from the start to the end. It's not always,
Yeah.
we will not, I mean, the agency will not just initiate and then present, but think of the feasibilities with production. At the start pa lang, the brand or the client is always or should be there already. Because not just the budget, but of course they need to see also they need to appreciate also the process.
Yeah.
How do you manage with all these new technologies coming in, whether it's mahal or affordable for the brand to spend on? How do you manage basically the use of it for your digital and driving digital experience with consumers?
Well, in our case, it's just very selective. If it's like technology, depends on the project. If it's a technology that's already available locally, or then it's easier to activate. If it's a project that requires innovation, then we invent it.
What's the future? Kasi yung sa totoo lang, ang Pinoy manaro. So, whether we budget or wala, tayo. Yeah, that's a good part. Ending story. But I think experience was so worth it. Nag-admire natin sa na first that experience to ting na to, and then paglabas ng bahay, may people, then pagsakay din ng bus, yung seat. Yeah. And pagpunta niya sa isang spot to, inaamot ka dun sa. So, feeling ko yung story na yun, compete. Of course, we're innovating, and at the end of the day, we want to make it something that's meaningful and purposeful and can shape cultures and can really make an impact across all the communities. I think we really need strong internet connections here for more people to appreciate the impact of digital. Yeah, I've learned a lot in this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.